Any NFT area that you think like we're gonna see maybe this year or next year that is not really that like there wasn't enough focus on right now, but like you feel, man, that's gonna be super disruptive or that's gonna be super innovative?
There's a company that I met with called Scent.io, and what they're trying to do is basically become a layer of instant NFT marketplace for social content platforms. So they started with Twitter, and you probably, if you're listening to this, there's a very good chance that you've heard of Scent, but through the headline that it created and not so much the company itself. They got an enormous amount of traction. I met with them maybe 2 weeks ago, and like 3 or 4 days later, or maybe 5 or 6 days later, Jack Dorsey, the creator of Twitter, NFT'd his original tweet.
Yep.
His original tweet.
Yeah. I also sold one involuntarily. Someone just offered to pay to buy
so
it.
that's
Yeah.
the thing, right? So what Scent did was they basically just said, all right, we're going to instantly take the entire library of Twitter, every tweet ever created, and we're going to instantly become the layer between the creator and an interested buyer. And we're going to say, okay, if you're a buyer, you can make a bid on any tweet. We're not promising you that you'll ever be able to buy it, but you can make a bid. And if the original creator comes onto our platform, authenticates their Twitter account, they're going to have an inbox of bids, and they can come in and accept your bid, right? So when my brother first logged on, he had a bunch of bids.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It didn't require him being on the platform, which is what I think is the interesting part. But in order for a transaction to happen, it did require him to be authenticated on and opted in. And so I think that's pretty interesting. And the way I look at what Scent is up to is I think the NFT value of Scent is twofold. One, like we talked about before, I think it can be a collectible in the form of history.
Yeah.
A copy of the Declaration of Independence just sold for $2 million. I think Jack Dorsey's first tweet, last I checked, at $2.5 million.
2.5,
like,
yeah.
You're buying a piece of history if you're buying Jack Dorsey's first tweet. If there's the cool thing is, how many times have we said as a society, like when something crazy happens, let me phrase, when something crazy happens and everything happens on Twitter, right? We always say, man, imagine if Twitter existed back in 1982 when this happened. Imagine if Twitter existed. Well, moving forward and forever, it does exist. And so you're able to capture, I think, documents, your digital documents of history. And so I think that's an interesting NFT marketplace. I think that's how people are going to look at it. They're buying important documents is how I see it. And I think, Jack obviously jump-started that narrative, and I think it's got a real chance to pick up some steam.
Cuban mentioned that his biggest roadblock that he sees at the moment is the on-ramp into the crypto ecosystem. How do you see that, and how do you see this being solved? Or
it's absolutely the biggest hurdle. It's part of why NBA Top Shot has been so successful is because they've done a really nice job, right?
They have it seamless there. Yeah,
right. Because you can just put in, at least in America, you just put in your
credit card
and you can do it, right? And so that is absolutely the biggest hurdle. But I've probably had, in the last 3 weeks, I've probably had 10 to 15 conversations with entrepreneurs that are developing for the NFT space. And they're all working on or talking to people about how to make consumer onboarding easier. Like, yes, it's the biggest hurdle, but I would also say that the developer community sees it as the number one opportunity. And when that happens, it gets solved. And whether it takes 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 15 months, it's going to happen.
Coinbase,
I can assure everybody listening that we will eventually make it easier for people. I mean, think about the internet. And then, Netscape Navigator. Think about all the things, AOL made it really easy for people in this walled garden in the 90s. And so it's going to happen. It's inevitable.
Coinbase IPO, are you an investor or are you like, nah, just going to leave it? Or
Well, Gary and I were very fortunate to write a check quite a while back. We did their series. Was their series C that we did? We did well there. So that'll work out for us.
What was the valuation? I mean, it's public anyways.
I want to say it was I think it was a $400 million post. So whenever
nice one.
Round that was, I think that was the C or the B. We did that. Whatever the $400 million post round was, that's what we did.
Cool. It's at least 200x now, depending on what it's posting.
I think it's gonna be less based on dilution.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's gonna. I mean, at the moment they're talking about a 90 billion, right? So could I
It's
mean,
going to be good. We're excited for that direct listing. Yeah,
congratulations,
I'm,
man.
I'm a buyer. I am long, and I'm, by the way, I don't have any intention. We don't have any intention of selling right at IPO. We can, because it's a direct listing. We could hypothetically liquidate our entire position on day one, but that is not the plan.